Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us today on China Daily Speak Talk. This year will mark the 25th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and Lithuania. So how are you planning to celebrate this major event?
Thank you for inviting us. It's a very special year for our diplomatic relations anniversary, 25th year, and when we established our diplomatic relations. And we will have quite a few of cultural events for that, because we have many theater companies coming, and we will have, for example, one actually in 2 weeks' time here in Beijing. We will have several orchestras, chamber orchestra, national orchestra performing in China, in different places of China. We will have exhibitions, and we also will have for the first time children books translated into Chinese and published in China, which is also very important, because normally, you know, people-to-people contacts are very important, and to understand each other literature is of a great importance as well. And we do hope also that it will be not only cultural events, but that we will have, for example, soon certificates for our dairy products that could be already exported to China, as we are waiting for some time already. And that our export will boost, because import figures are quite impressive already. Also, we have quite a few of high-level visits. We just recently had our Minister of Health visiting China and having lots of very good meetings. Then we will have our Prime Minister coming again, because he is invited by your Prime Minister to participate in WOW Forum this year. Then we will have Minister of Culture, who is coming in April. And then we are having our Minister of Economics and quite a few of other ministers coming. So this is really a very dynamic year for our relations, and this is really very important.
And before all this happens, Lithuania just actually celebrated its Independence Day, right? How was the celebration, and do you miss home?
You know, now we are speaking in between of our celebrations, because we have two very important dates. It's 16th of February and 11th of March, because our history is quite complicated. So when we became, you know, a republic, it was in 1918, and it was 16th of February. And then we have another anniversary, when we regained our independence in 1990 on 11th of March. So both of those dates, sometimes they are very tricky, because they are close to each other, and people sometimes keep mixing them, because foreigners ask us why you have so many national days. But this is our history, which is quite complicated. But we are very proud of those dates, and of course we try to celebrate it and to make them meaningful. 11th of March will be this time celebrated in Shanghai, because we have our theater company coming, and they will be performing on that day in Shanghai. And we have, in our terms, quite large Lithuanian community in Shanghai. So we will have Chinese-Lithuanian reception in Shanghai for this year.
I see. Speaking of cooperations between China and Europe, I still remember this, the first summit between China and the Central Eastern Europe countries last year. It was in China, in Suzhou, and in Shanghai as well. And our Premier Li Keqiang took major European leaders to our bulletin system and experienced how it works. So this year, the second summit will take place in Riga, in Baltic area. So what's your expectation for this summit?
It is important that it happens in our part near to the Baltic Sea. This time, this dimension is shifting towards Baltic Sea. It is anyway. This summit is always very important, because once per year you come and you evaluate what happened, what are the main directions, and where we are going. So we will see what we managed to achieve throughout the year, and what in different fields and in different directions that we discussed in Suzhou, and now we will have some kind of a Riga document, of course. And also for the hosting country, it's also very important because you have, a lot of prime ministers coming, and you have also Chinese prime minister coming, and then normally Chinese prime minister is having, a bilateral program. So that will be very, very important for Latvia, and we are very glad for our neighbors that they are hosting such an event, and we hope in future to be able to host such a summit as well.
My next question goes to the Belt and Road Initiative, which was a major strategy brought up by this new government 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. So Lithuania is located in a very strategic part on the map here for this strategy. So what the two sides have achieved so far jointly together?
We are looking really very seriously towards this initiative, because this is an important strategy for our relations as well. We are really very strategically based for this road. I would say in a very good position to take an active part in this One Road, One Belt initiative. Now we that we are working and planning with one big Chinese company, China Merchants Group, and they have their own plans for Lithuania. And I will not speak for them, but the fact that they are opening their representation in Lithuania, it looks serious, and we will see, because they have agreements with our port, they have agreements with our railways. They are, kind of MOUs, but I would say that it's talks in progress. And we do hope that we will have a serious project evolving from that.
I see. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.